Minister of Tourism, Dr. Abdullah Mausum, colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Tourism, dear participants, a very good day to all of you. First of all, let me extend a very warm welcome to all of you joining this webinar. We are extremely delighted to have you participating in the event today, especially when it is so close to your Easter holidays. We will try our best to make it worth your time. Honorable Minister, we are particularly honored and pleased to have you join us and deliver the keynote address during this webinar. You have also very kindly agreed to be available for the Q&A session as well. Thank you, Minister. The theme of the webinar is New Tourism Business Model of the Maldives 2021. This webinar is organized as a closed webinar targeted at a niche audience. In this context, I am pleased to note the participation of high net worth companies and individuals with a background of large international commercial investments. I would like to thank all of them for their participation and also my team here at the embassy for getting together such a promising group of people to participate. During this webinar, we will be sharing with participants up-to-date information, particularly on the recent developments in the Maldives relating to tourism that we believe would be of importance from an investor's perspective. We also hope that we will be able to have an intense interaction with the officials of the Tourism Ministry through the Q&A session after the presentation. Before I move to the program of the day, let me at this stage highlight a couple of housekeeping issues. First, about the Q&A session. We will be entertaining questions from participants throughout the webinar, and I would like to request those who wish to ask questions to do so by posting them in the Q&A chat log. Second, simultaneous interpretation. We have arranged simultaneous interpretation to Russian language for the benefit of the Russian-speaking audience. You can use this facility by clicking on the globe button at the bottom of the screen and selecting Russian language. And now with these remarks, let me turn to the agenda. First, we have the keynote address by the Honorable Minister of Tourism of Maldives, Dr. Abdullah Mausum, which will be followed by a presentation from the Ministry of Tourism by Director Ali Shinan, and then we will go into the question and answer session. Dr. Abdullah Mausum was appointed as the Minister of Tourism of the Maldives in August 2020 for the second time, the first being in 2018. Minister Dr. Mausum has served the legislature as well as a Member of Parliament from 2009 to 2014. Prior to his appointment as the minister last year, he was the ambassador of Maldives in Singapore from 2019 to 2020. Dr. Mausum was also a member of the Tourism Promotion Advisory Council, board member of Maldives Association of Tourism Industry, as well as member of the College Council of Maldives College of Higher Education. He also worked as a tourism consultant for over 25 years and contributed to the development of the third tourism master plan of Maldives. Dr. Mausum is undeniably a well-established authority on tourism in the Maldives, with vast experiences and varied exposure in the tourism sector, both as a decision maker and a key tourism administrator for several decades. In his capacity as the current minister, Dr. Mausum has played a vital role in bringing about unprecedented changes through the revised Tourism Act to encourage further investment in the tourism sector in the Maldives. Tourism officials participating today will be elaborating on these changes later. I'm sure that you are all eagerly looking forward to the Minister's keynote address and insights. Therefore, without further ado, I now give the floor to Minister Dr. Mausum. You have the floor, Minister.
Very, very good afternoon, Excellency Ambassador Ahmad Latif, distinguished excellencies and other participants we have here today. As Ambassador just mentioned, we are very delighted that you have decided to meet us, join this webinar. And first of all, let me thank Ambassador Latif and his team for working this out. Very well organized one, and I'm so happy that I get to say a few words today regarding the wonderful investment opportunities in the Maldives. But before I do that, let me just brief you a little bit about how far we have come in the couple of months, last couple of year or so, since we opened our border. Maldives tourism is everything. When tourism stops, Maldives stops. And we closed our border on 27th March, and then things started going very bad. And we had to open the borders on 15th July. The president made that bold decision to open the borders of the Maldives while the whole world was closing, because we don't have our domestic economy and we need the tourism. So President, His Excellency Ibrahim Mutsoli, had a consultation with all the stakeholders and made the decision while the world was closing, Maldives decided to open for tourism. And that was a very good decision we see today. So after the opening, we slowly started getting the numbers. First month, it was under 1,000. But by the time we finished the year, we made our initial forecasts shoot off. We initially forecasted just 100,000 tourists after the border opening, but we got more than 150,000 tourists after the border opening. Then as we were finishing, we won the world's leading destination award by the World Travel Awards for the first time. Also, 2020 was termed by the CNN, the Maldives was classed as the tourism international success story of 2020. So all these good things happened. Why? Because we were working together. First, to manage the pandemic, we had a wholesome approach where the whole of government, whole of industry, whole of health sector, whole of DIPCO, the foreign services, the health sector and their volunteers, everyone was engaged. The local councils were engaged. Other authorities were engaged. We introduced our loyalty program, Maldives Border Mile. So with all these things and with having our we received also World Tourism and Travel Council's safety stamp. And we welcomed 2021 with very high hopes for the year. Initially, we targeted 1 million tourists, but now what? We have revised the target for 1.5 million tourists. During the pandemic, the stay also has become longer. That's also very good. So we are targeting for 2021, 10 million bed nights. That's just equivalent to 2019 figures. The whole, the total protocol for tourism reopening in the Maldives, the government had a formula whereby we gave maximum safety for tourists, staff, and the public with minimum inconvenience. So now we have revised the figures after vaccine rollout. It's good. The future looks good. The tourism sector employees are getting vaccinated, and tourists are loving the Maldives. You can see Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, and people are really happy that Maldives is open and people had a breather. Our geography really helped. So as we celebrate 2021, as we mark 2021 as the year of investment, we are very confident that Maldives is back on track. That's why we wanted to meet you and we want to show you the investment opportunities we have in the Maldives. Today, as Ambassador Latif mentioned, we have got a very good presentation on investment opportunities in the Maldives. But just a few pointers. The investment, the foreign investment for the tourism sector is very popular because it has given a very good return. Then this year also we have brought a lot of changes to the legislation to give more confidence to the foreign investors. Particularly what I notice is the engagement from tourism ministry and our foreign offices in engaging, giving information about the investment opportunities in the Maldives. This is a very clear example of the engagement that foreign officers are having. While I was the ambassador at Singapore, we had small events like this, but not something as organized as this. So I thank the foreign team today, Harji team today, especially for the German one, of course, Malaysia also, Singapore also, other embassies are holding webinars with us, doing this, doing a lot of work to tell you the opportunities we have. Now, with regard to how we are working on, normally it's the big resorts that have the opportunity. But again, we have brought a very big change where you can invest even in smaller projects. Lots of $1 million makes $100 million. So there are many opportunities for you to invest in the Maldives. I will be more than happy to answer any question you may have, and tourism ministry team and our colleagues are waiting here to give the answers as you may have. And also, after this webinar, we want to be engaged with you. It's not a one-off thing. This is a start of a dialogue that we want to take it to a point where we close business transactions. We want to be a bridger between the people who have to sell things and the buyers. And we will work with you. Once again, I wish to thank everyone who is engaged in organizing this webinar. Tourism Ministry team also has been working very hard with the German embassy, Maldives embassy, and organizing this one. Of course, I have a few colleagues. I can't tell you by name because there are so many of you. I particularly missed, I know that Italian Honorary Consul is here. We will perhaps meet up later words. I'm sorry, I was under quarantine. I was abroad when you were here, but now we meet, and the other colleagues from different parts of the world. Thank you for joining us today, and wish you a very informative session ahead. And we are here to answer your questions. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you for your insightful address. You have, through your address, highlighted the key role of tourism in the economic development of the Maldives and the importance attached by the government to further develop the industry in the country. You have also emphasized the benefits of investing in the sector, as can be seen by the numerous success stories. I'm sure participants would have questions to ask from you, Minister, but we will leave those for the Q&A session. And now I will give the floor to Mr. Ali Shinan, Director in the Ministry of Tourism, to make his presentation. Mr. Shinan, you have the floor.
Minister of Tourism, Honorable Dr. Abdullah Mausum, Maldives Ambassador to Germany, His Excellency Mr. Ahmad Latif, other delegates attending this webinar, a very good morning, and I welcome you all to the Maldives Tourism Sector Investment Webinar. My name is Shinan. I am the Director of Planning at the Ministry of Tourism, and today I'll be giving you all a brief on the existing and upcoming investment opportunities for tourism in the Maldives. Towards the end of my presentation, I will share a link and a QR code to the white paper report and also this presentation. We'll start off with a short introduction about the Maldives and then have a brief overview of the Maldives as a destination. Next, we'll be looking at the investment procedures and opportunities in the Maldives in detail. So, to start off, the Maldives is a small island nation located in the heart of the Indian Ocean. And the Maldives comprises of a total of 1,192 small islands with a population of more than 568,000 people, which is distributed in 26 geographical atolls. Ever since tourism started in the Maldives in 1972, we've got around 159 islands developed as tourist resorts as of today. Further, we have roughly more than 150 projects still under development, and these are resort, hotels, and guest house developments. Next slide. In Maldives, we have 4 international airports established throughout the country, which you can see from here, and 1 in south, 2 in north, and the most widely used international airport in the central region, which is Welana International Airport, all of which practices free honorable visa procedure for tourists. From this slide, Maldives is well connected to the rest of the world. We have direct flights coming from Middle East, from Qatar, from Dubai, and also from the Asian region. We have good connection to America and also to the Pacific via Singapore, Sri Lanka, and also Malaysia. This slide depicts the various airlines that operate to the Maldives as of 3rd March 2021. Since the border reopened, we open our borders, as the minister mentioned already, 15th July 2020 after the closure in March 2020. I want to also highlight that we maintain a very liberal aviation policy with air service agreements with 48 countries globally. Here are the number of registered tourist facilities in the Maldives. We have resorts, hotels, guest houses, and liveaboards registered at the ministry for tourist accommodation. As a notable achievement, I would like to highlight here as well that since the border reopening, now we have more than 90% of these registered facilities reopened. Looking at the nominal GDP contribution figures as of 2019, tourism has maintained its position as the #1 contributor to the GDP directly as well as indirectly, with 26.3% contribution directly and more than 70% contribution to the GDP indirectly. So despite the closure of the borders from March till July 2020, we've managed to reach a number of more than 555,000 tourists by the end of the year 2020. This was the result of the hard work and efforts put by the industry stakeholders. So far this year, we have seen a good bounce back and in arrivals. As of yesterday, we stand close to 300K in arrivals. This graph visualizes the average duration of stay of guests in 2019 and 2020 comparatively. The average duration of stay of tourists have increased from 6.3 nights in 2019 to an average of 7.3 nights in 2021. And the Maldives Visitor Survey conducted biannually, every year biannually, have shown that European visitors stay for longer duration compared to the Asian travelers. This chart shows the occupancy rates in 2019 and 2020. Here you can see the effects of global pandemic, notably visible throughout the mid-2020. So this is the top markets of 2019. The top markets of 2019 were China, India, Italy, Germany, and UK respectively. And the top markets for 2020 were India, Russia, UK, Italy, and Germany. So we can see here, Germany has been in our top 5 markets in 2019 as well as 2020. From here, we'll be looking at the Maldives as a destination from a marketing perspective. So this is the official slogan of the Maldives, the sunny side of life. Next slide. Despite it being one of the most challenging year last year, the sector, we have had notable achievements, and the Maldives has accomplished within the past year the world's leading destination award of 2020 at the World Travel Awards, as well as we have got the Safe Travel stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council last year. This is the efforts made by the industry stakeholders to make the destination safe and a secure one. One of the key USPs of the Maldives, especially during this global pandemic, is that the islands are very much self-contained in the Maldives, and it can be said that the natural social distancing is maintained in the Maldives because we've got resorts in one island, one resort concept. So with the implementation of the 10th Amendment last year to the Tourism Act, the Maldives tourism product now can be greatly diversified, and new USPs can be developed with this 10th Amendment, and integrated tourism development projects, Strata villas, and also private islands are also possible in Maldives now. So these are some of the positioning techniques used by the brand in tourism industry, out of which we all know that Maldives is well known and positioned well for the romantic side of life for honeymooners. So yeah, so this slide shows things you can do in the Maldives. You'll never run out of things to do here in the Maldives. From diving, snorkeling to island hopping, even cruising within the atolls, or even the tourists can indulge in different experiences ranging from underwater restaurants to underground wine cellars. So these are the international brands in the Maldives operating. And the next slide, this is also some of the international brands that are operating in the Maldives currently. So finally, we can have a look at the investment opportunities and procedures within the Maldives now. Next slide. 2021 has been labeled as the year of investment, and a great deal of the year will be focused on bringing valuable investment into the Maldives from all over the world. So now you'll be thinking, why should you be investing in the Maldives? The answer is simple. With our development duty concessions, strong legislative framework, and tax incentives, investors are assured an excellent return on investment, which is an average of 7 to 10 years normally. It is also important to highlight here that 100% foreign direct investments are also allowed in the Maldives. So as previously mentioned, the Maldives make a great destination for investments due to the country being easily accessible with liberal aviation policies, and also with the convenient visa procedures. The Maldives also focus very much on the sustainable development practices, and some of the policies in this regard we have are the environmentally conscious construction policies, and also the focus on the low carbon developments. Here you can see the some of the highlights of the 10th Amendment to the Tourism Act. As I've mentioned before, to integrated tourism development projects such as private islands, real estate tourism can now be established in the Maldives. With the 10th Amendment also came the change in the land rents, which will be highlighted later in later slides, and also the lease period extension have also been enacted through the 10th Amendment. Currently, initial leases in the tourism is for 50 years, which can be extended up to 99 years. As I mentioned, here you can see the land rent variation according to the geographical locations, with lower rates for the areas that we need more tourism development. So here you can see the land rent is $4 per square meter per annum for the northernmost atolls, $8 per square meter per annum for the central atolls, $6 per square meter per annum for the southern, and $2 per square meter for the southernmost atoll, which is Sinu and Nyaviani atoll. Now we'll be looking at the investment opportunities available within the Maldives. So a total of 28 islands have now been allocated to be leased for tourism in 2021, and the leasing process is to be continued in 3 phases. So these are the classic profiles of the islands that can be found in the Maldives, and that will be open for the bidding. These are small islands or sandbanks which can be reclaimed prior to initiating the key construction process. However, this reclamation, I want to highlight that these reclamations are possible on a controlled basis. This slide, you can see the reclamation criteria. The first environment management plan shall be submitted and approved. After that, environmental impact assessment will be done. And only 30% of the shallow lagoon can be reclaimed, and 60% of the shallow lagoon can be developed for tourism. And also we have to highlight that as per the reclamation guidelines, 10 meters from the reef edge will be restricted for development zones. Secondly, these are the classic islands which you see, the one island, one resort concept, which is normally developed on these islands. These are usually the size of these islands range from 8 to 10 hectares. We've got rich natural vegetation and beaches in these islands. So here you can see the clusters of islands will also be up for bidding this year, and this is quite a unique formulation of islands which can be developed into a unique tourism product with multiple facilities in different islands. We also have a plot of lands on uninhabited islands. In these islands, a certain part of the island will be open for lease and development for tourism. And also we've got community tourism development. So this is where the plot of lands in inhabited or local islands come in place. So we'll be leasing and it will be open for bid. Such plots will also be open for bid and for the development of guest houses as well as hotels. Recently, we had 32 such plots awarded from Addu City, which is the southernmost atoll, and currently in the bidding process is ongoing for 62 plots in the same city. Similarly, a plot of land from Kela, which is in Ha Alif, which is the northernmost atoll of the country, was awarded for the development of a tourist hotel, including the lagoon area surrounding the plot of land. Here's the list of the islands. As I've mentioned before, here's the list. This is the list that have been allocated for tourism development, and we'll be leasing out accordingly phase by phase. So the first phase, we have already completed the first phase of leasing, and the second phase will be open soon for tender. This list will also be available from our website, and also this presentation, as I mentioned before, will be available from the link and the QR code, which I'll be sharing towards the end of this presentation. On this slide, you'll see the full process we follow at the ministry for the leasing of island, plot of lagoons or land from the announcement of the bid to the submission to the agreement stage. Normally, these processes takes approximately 3 to 4 months to get agreemented. Yeah. So these are the documents that have to be submitted and completed in the bid submission and when submitting your proposals. Our evaluation for these bids or this leasing is very objective. So we require a very minimal documentation while submitting the bid proposals. Yeah, before I conclude, I would like to just highlight on the ongoing tourism properties under development. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we have got approximately 150 properties under development, and currently we are working on a mechanism to kickstart the halted project out of these. There are some of the projects ongoing which are halted. So we are also looking for investment opportunities for such developments. So I believe this is also a great opportunity to invest in as an operator or sublessee or any of these forms. Yeah, that's all, and thank you for taking your time and listening to my presentation. So as I mentioned, if you want a copy of this presentation and also the white paper report, you can access by scanning the QR code, and and also the link will be shared at the chat box now. From here, I'll pass the floor to our Deputy Minister, Dr. Naushad, to wrap up. Deputy Minister, Dr. Naushad.
Thank you, Shinan. Honorable Minister of Tourism, Dr. Abdullah Mausum, Ambassador of the Republic of Maldives to the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Ahmad Latif, and participants of this seminar, a very good day. We welcome tourist resort developers, real estate companies, and investors to explore the opportunities presented in today's webinar. With revised tourism-related regulations, reduced land rent and incentives, topped with the title of World Leading Destinations 2020, this year, 2021, is definitely the year to invest in the Maldives. To receive 550,000 tourists by the end of 2020 shows that tourism is on the road towards recovery, with visitors coming back to Maldives despite the anxiety of traveling related to post-COVID-19. Tourists, especially European tourists, now stay longer than with an average of 7.3 nights. And we are happy that Germany, Russia, UK, and Italy is on our top 10 destinations for 2020. Furthermore, international airlines such as the Emirates Airlines has increased their flights from 4 flights to 5 flights daily, and Qatar Airways has increased from 3 to 4 flights daily. British Airways has also increased to daily flights, which had 3 flights per week earlier. Private jets has increased by 50% during November, December, and January compared to 2019 in the same period. Tourism researchers insist that once COVID-19 starts to weaken, the last thing we should do is repeat everything we did before. Consequently, Maldives is working closely with international organizations such as the UNDP and WTO by engaging in deep learning and remodeling the Maldives tourism industry as a resilient industry against future shocks. To that end, we are following international standards and best practices for the safety and well-being of our tourists during the pandemic. In rebuilding tourism, we are working on integrating our rich cultural heritage, preserve biodiversity and eco-rich areas, phasing out single-use plastics, and transiting to renewable energy. All these efforts works towards the common objective of achieving sustainability, and resilience in rebuilding tourism in the Maldives. With that, I conclude my speech. Thank you for participating in the Discover the New Tourism Business Model of Maldives 2021. I hope this webinar has been useful in understanding investment opportunities to invest in tourist resort islands in the Maldives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ali Shinan, for your detailed presentation, and also to Deputy Minister, Dr. Naushad, for your insights. I think we have about 20 more minutes. We could go into the question and answer session now. I already see a couple of questions. The first question is, can you please clarify what strata lease and integrated tourism concept means? Because I remember we talked about the integrated tourism concept, which is something new in the Maldives, and I think this question is related to that. Who would like to go at it?
Ambassador, thank you. I think I will try to answer. If I can't answer, I will let my experienced colleagues jump in. But I think this is a very straightforward one. Earlier, Maldives had one island, one hotel. In one island, you get one hotel. That is the beauty of Maldives. But some islands are very big. So what we are going to do is, in one island, there will be multiple developments. So the basic infrastructure will be provided to the island, the electricity, water, sewerage, telecommunication, and others can come and invest in the island as hotels, other tourism services, dive centers, conference centers, sports avenues. So that one. This will be the new concept. We have got 2 islands now earmarked, and the third one is on the way of being earmarked for this one. And the strata is the typical timeshare that you are familiar with. So you will be able to rent out for a long-term basis and have it for a while, then let it go if you want to keep it. So so that is these two areas. I hope I have clarified. Integrate is going to be very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. There is, I believe it's more of a follow-up question. Also, can you please let me know if there is a residency stroke citizenship in exchange for investment program in the Maldives? If yes, what are the basic terms? I think this was what you were referring to, Minister.
Thank you very much. It is the new change that has come. 2 things now. As an investor, you get residency visa. The amount you need to invest is 250,000 K, and you get that one. So when with that, we are also introducing real estate tourism, whereby in one island you can have your own villa. You can have your villa, and also we have got private islands, as Shinan was saying. You can have your own private island as a residence place, not for tourism purposes, just for you and your colleagues to spend time in the clear waters and the fresh air of Maldives. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question. This is also coming from a Russian participant, I believe. Please clarify, is it allowed to establish a company with 100% foreign participation and invest in the resort development in Maldives through such a company?
Yes, Ambassador. I think it's a very important question. That is the beauty. We love. Did you see the number of foreign brands in the Maldives? Yes, 100% foreign investment is allowed. But for the smaller hotels in the inhabited islands, for the smaller guest houses, the foreign ownership can be up to 49% only if the hotel is very, very small. But bigger hotels, 100% foreign investment is all good, and there are no foreign currency restrictions. You can take out whatever you want, and the taxes are very, very low compared to we have got the TGST plus business profit tax. Then of course there's a green tax. Thank you.
Thank you. There seems to be quite a lot of questions, and we have fortunately time. The next question is, as far as private islands are concerned, will they be available for private brackets non-commercial residential purposes only, or commercial tourism purposes too? Will the terms, procedures be different from getting a virgin island for resort development as before?
The resort development is the one that Shinan just explained. We have a bidding process, so we have got other means where, because government requires certain developments in the country, so we have the option of cross subsidy. When the government says we need a particular development in a particular area, we exchange that for an island, but that is for usually tourism development, a classical tourism development where you can develop a resort. But if you wish to have another small private island, that is possible. So we are going to lease this private island. That's not for tourism, so there is no tax in it. You just have the basic acquisition cost plus the land rent, which is expected to be $1 per square meter, and then you can have that one with the acquisition cost. The size of the island will determine the actual price, but we have not totally finalized the rate for the private islands yet, but it's going to be something that is really affordable.
Thank you, Minister. The next question is from an Italian colleague. We seem to have quite an international audience today. I understand there are participants from Germany, Russia, Finland, Singapore, Italy, and there could be more. The question is, I have a question. There is any chance to obtain a license from a resort with a casino license included? I'm asking this just because there will be a large number of possible bidders, Minister.
Thank you. I'm sure that's a very interesting area. We have seen Macau just come to the top of the destinations, and it has been in the discussion board, but yet we haven't got a way forward for that. The nearest that has come to is having a offshore cruise liner nearby the Maldives, and who could do that casino thingy. But at the moment, it is not. It's not permitted at the moment. But many have been discussing this for many years. Yeah, I'm sure that is a very interesting area for business development. But unfortunately, at the moment, sorry, we haven't got that.
Okay, one more question. The question is, we would like to know, it's not a question, but perhaps a request. We would like to know when the bids / opportunities will be available and how to check them. I think this is a very important question.
Yeah, contact German embassy, please. Of course, it's an international
Minister,
one. We have got one set of bids coming up in April. We will finalize the lands very soon. Just now, Shinan mentioned we have got classical Maldivian island, some smaller sandbank or smaller island where a lot of reclamation possibility. Some lands in inhabited islands, some lands part agriculture. So all this, and also many plots in inhabited islands, that will be coming up in the coming month. Well, now that you have joined us, we hope this is for longer term. We will have your details, and I will personally look into that whenever there is an opportunity that you are notified. We will have you on our mailing list, and we will definitely inform you, because we want to make sure that one day that you are here. I mean, some of you are already in Maldives. I know some of you have already got your business here. You want to see what more is there. We will have you in the mail list, and also it is uploaded on our website and also in the Maldives Government Gazette. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. I think that's a very good offer. I think it's a bonus for participating in this webinar, which clearly demonstrates the interest of the participants in the investment of the Maldives.
Ambassador, just if I may just add, Maldives foreign officers with Foreign Minister Shahid Abdul Shahid's engagement in support in tourism. The Hariji team, foreign team, is very active and supportive also. As just now mentioned, it's multi-country, but we have our foreign officers in different parts of the world. And our honorary consuls are also there. Our representatives are also in some places there. But I think as a first point of very good contact will be all the embassies. They also will replicate the information we give. So you will know. In addition to mail list, I'm sure all them you can get that information from all the embassies. And I thank all the embassies for your engagement.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, I think these are the questions that we have so far. And like I said, this is a good beginning, and we hope to be more engaged with the participants who are here. We have come almost to the end of the presentation, or rather the webinar, and is there any questions, further questions before we wrap up? If not, I will try to wrap it up now. Dear friends, we hope that through this webinar, we have been able to provide useful information about the tourism sector and the benefits and advantages in investing in the Maldives, particularly in view of the favorable changes that are in place now, which have been highlighted by the minister as well as the officials from the ministry. With these new changes that have been highlighted during the webinar, it is now possible to make Maldives your second home, and this would be quite convenient, and we look forward to welcoming you to the Maldives again. In 2022, next year, I believe we will be commemorating our Golden Jubilee anniversary of tourism in the Maldives, and we hope that you will visit us to celebrate the occasion with us together. Before I conclude, I would also like to thank all of you once again for your participation, for your active engagement and lively interaction during the webinar. I wish to also thank our colleagues in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, particularly our Economic Cooperation Department, for their strong support, as well as the officials of the Tourism Ministry who have put in very valuable input and hard work into this. I would also place on record my minister's continued support and guidance in the work that we do, that has encouraged us to work harder. And on that note, I see a few more questions. We have still time. So Minister, with your permission, I will ask one more question. What would be the business registration process for the subcontractors in the integrated tourism program. I think it was mentioned to some extent, but if maybe somebody could elaborate on that, that would be the last question.
Thank you, Ambassador. For that question also earlier, I just want to elaborate more on the private island, the process, because I think it will be wonderful for someone to own a private island for private use in the Maldives. That will be a first happening. So for that, I would ask our policy executive, senior policy executive, Hussan, to say a few words. If you could give mic to Hussan, please, on that one. And also the last question, Ambassador asked about the registration, total registration process for strata. Is it?
Yes.
Hussan, are you able to talk?
We don't seem to hear him. Can you turn on your mic? Yes.
Yes. Hi. So the first question was about private islands. So what we have done with the private islands in terms of legislation is that we have established a mechanism whereby the government leases out a lagoon to a state-owned and 100% state-owned enterprise, which will then reclaim some islands there, as per the requirements of a private investor who wishes to purchase the leasehold rights of the island. So the lease term is limited to 99 years, and there'll be very few restrictions on development in terms of how the investor wants to construct on the island. So, but it's mostly targeted towards residential development, so whereby the investor and whoever he designates can utilize the island for residential purposes. And I would like to highlight that the recent changes to the Immigration Act allows purchase of property valued above $250,000 in the real estate market in Maldives, eligible for a corporate resident visa, which is valid for 5 years and extendable after that. So the private islands are a very unique product, which will attract a lot of investors, hopefully, to the country, and they can establish private residences on these islands. And the lease rent regime for these products are also different. It's limited to $1 per square meter of reclaimed land, which is more in line with property tax rates across the world. So could you please repeat the second question?
The registration process.
The registration process for strata villas is basically that a developer will construct strata villas within their property, and they will be able to sell the leasehold rights for the strata villas to individual investors. So basically, the property will have an operating license, and a management agreement will be signed between the property and the strata title holder. So the management agreement will determine the rights of the strata title holder to utilize their property and for provision of utilities management and revenue sharing between the strata title holder and the management party, which is the resort or integrated tourist resort operator. And once the strata agreement is registered with the ministry, strata title deed will be issued to the investor, and who can actually even mortgage the title deed with the bank. So it's a very convenient and easy registration process whereby the property property manager has to bear most of the responsibilities for the registration process as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, let me now conclude. We have 5 minutes to 12. I'm glad we were able to fit it into the slot that we had planned earlier, unlike the last one we had, which kind of went on and on. Minister, as you rightly mentioned, this is the beginning of what we hope is a fruitful engagement with the participants in this group. And then now we can rest assured that the link has been made between them and the ministry. So we will continue to be involved as far as it is necessary. And then we look forward to working together with everybody. Thank you very much and have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.